Imagine this. The sun is almost gone, the sky is doing that deep blue to inky black shift, and you've just taken the turn off the main road toward Kumrat. The shops behind you are fading, the mobile signals are already playing hide and seek, and ahead, it's just pine silhouettes getting taller and taller.
And you're hungry, a little grumpy, and pretending you're not checking the fuel gauge every 2 minutes. That's the real scene.
Exactly. Welcome to Travel Dairy. I'm your host, Sharjeel, and today I want you to sit with us in that exact moment, late evening, heading into Kumrat Forest, when you have to decide, do we push ahead into the forest now, or stop back in town and wait for morning?
And I'm Abdullah, usually the one saying, yeah, let's just reach there, we'll figure everything out, which sometimes is a great idea, and sometimes not so great.
So this episode is all about that first night. Not the Instagram morning shots. The night. The Jeep ride, the cold air through the window, the darkness of the trees, and the small decisions that make it magical instead of stressful.
If you're planning your first trip to Kumrat, or honestly any forested valley up north, this is the moment you want to get right, because a calm, safe arrival sets the tone for your entire trip.
All right, let's go back to our last trip. We'd started from the plains a bit late. Classic mistake. You think, all right, it's fine, we'll manage. And then the road, the chai stops, the small delays. Suddenly daylight is running faster than your car.
By the time we reached the last big town before Kumrat, the sun was basically on snooze mode. Streetlights here and there, shops wrapping up, that soft evening chaos. And we had this decision in front of us. Stay the night in town, or find a Jeep and go straight into the forest.
Now, normally, the safe textbook answer is, if you're very tired, just stop. Sleep, eat, go in fresh in the morning. And that's still a great option, especially if you're with kids, older parents, or you're driving for the first time in the mountains.
But we weren't completely exhausted. Just that end-of-day tired where you know you can handle a bit more. And both of us really wanted to wake up inside the forest, not in town.
So here's how we balanced it. First, we checked in with ourselves. Are we alert enough to handle another hour or so of travel? No headaches, no one nodding off, no one snapping at each other. We were okay.
Second, we looked at the weather and the road. No rain, the local drivers were still operating Jeeps, and there were other tourists around, not a deserted scene. That's important. If locals are calmly running business, it usually means conditions are normal.
So we decided, yes, we'll go into Kumrat that night, but we'd do it sensibly. That's where the Jeep comes in. The moment you arrive near the stand, a small crowd gathers. Jeep Kumrat? Jeep Kumrat? Suddenly you have options. One simple rule. I always go with the driver who is the calmest and gives me the most realistic answers. Not the one who says, 25 minute mein pahunch jayenge, road bilkul 5-star, and laughs.
Yeah, if someone promises you a perfectly smooth road to Kumrat, I'd be more scared of that than the actual bumps.
So what do I ask? Things like, Bhai, kitna time lag jayega ab is waqt? How long will it realistically take at this hour? Raat ko traffic kaisa hota hai? Aaj road pe koi masla to nahi? Any issue on the road tonight? And very important, aap khud kitne dafa raat ko Kumrat gaye hain? How many times have you driven there at night yourself?
We ended up with this one driver who answered very matter-of-factly. He said something like, time to depend करता है, लेकिन आज रोड ठीक है, लगभग इतना टाइम लग जाएगा. रात को थोड़ा आराम से चलना पड़ता है. That honesty was exactly what we wanted.
He didn't oversell, he didn't create fear. Calm, confident, but honest. That's your green signal. If a driver is making fun of your concerns or rushing you, skip. There will always be another Jeep.
Okay, fast forward. Luggage on top, we grab our seats, engine starts. That first moment when you leave the last bright shop behind and the darkness slowly wraps around the Jeep, that's when the real Kumrat feeling begins.
You hear the Panjkora River somewhere down on one side, just this constant low rumble in the dark. The headlights pick up the trunks of these tall deodar trees, one by one, like they're standing in a line watching you arrive. The air suddenly gets colder, sharper, and you feel it sneaking in through every small gap in the Jeep.
This is where seating matters more than we all think. I always prefer sitting a little forward, closer to the driver, where the ride is slightly less bouncy, and you can talk to him if you feel uneasy.
Yes, if you get motion sickness, avoid the very back row. And don't bury everything on the roof. Keep a small backpack with you with the essentials. A warm layer, your water bottle, light snack, power bank, and anything precious like camera or documents.
I remember that night. At one point, a cold wind just sliced through the side, and everyone went, "Ugh!" And I was so glad my jacket was not tied somewhere on top of the Jeep under 5 other bags.
Also, don't be shy about asking the driver to slow down if you're uncomfortable. A simple, respectful, "Bhai, thoda aaram se, hum jaldi mein nahi hai," can change the whole energy of the ride. You're not in a race, you're starting a vacation.
And use that time. Instead of staring into the dark and scaring yourself, talk quietly. Ask the driver about the valley. Ask your friends what they want to do next day. Listen to the river, the sound of the tires on gravel, the occasional branch scratching the side of the Jeep. It becomes strangely peaceful.
After a while, you notice the air smells different. A bit damp, a bit woody. The road levels out, and you see the first scattered lights of camps and small wooden rooms between the trees. That's your edge of the forest moment.
Now, reality check. Arriving at night means things are not perfectly arranged. The reception area might just be a small shed with one bulb. Some camps will be half full, some almost dark. Food options will be limited. And power? Well, power is a guest here, not a permanent resident.
So here's how we handled it. First, we asked our driver if he knew any reliable camp or guest house. Local drivers usually have a sense of who is serious about cleanliness and who has better washrooms. We checked 2 places before deciding.
One camp had a great location right by the river, but the washroom situation, let's just say, it was not friendly for a tired first night. The second one had basic wooden rooms, not fancy at all, but the washroom was cleaner and the staff seemed more attentive.
For a late arrival, I actually recommend leaning toward a simple room instead of full riverside camping, especially if it's your first time. A roof, walls, and a door you can close make a huge difference to how rested you feel next morning.
Exactly. You can always shift to a camp the next night once you've had a proper sleep and seen the place in daylight. Treat night 1 as your settle in and breathe night.
In terms of expectations, don't expect perfect lighting or fast charging at that hour. We walked into our room with a small dim light and a backup bulb. That's it. But we had our headlamps and phone torches, so we were fine.
Food-wise, be kind to the staff. If you show up very late, they might not have a full menu ready. We kept it simple. Dal, sabzi, roti, hot chai. Honestly, after that Jeep ride, even a basic hot meal feels like a feast.
All right, before we wrap up, let's do a quick planning guide so you can actually use this for your own trip.
First question, latest time to leave from the plains if you want a calm arrival. Now, timings vary with season and road conditions, but as a principle, plan so that you're entering the forest well before full night if it's your first visit. If delays push you too much, don't be shy to stay in town.
Budget-wise, think in ranges, not exact numbers, because prices change every season. Keep a chunk for the Jeep, a reasonable amount for a basic room or camp per night, and a daily food cushion. The important part is, always have a little extra for backup options. Don't travel with your last rupee counted.
And a mini packing checklist specially for late arrivals. Warm layers, easily reachable, a light rain layer, headlamp or small torch, power bank, basic medicines, some snacks, and a pair of easy slip-on shoes or sandals for those midnight bathroom walks on cold ground.
If you're coming with family, add a small extra blanket or shawl, especially if kids get cold easily. And maybe download your maps and any important information before you lose strong signals higher up.
So, what are the calm arrival rules we use that night? 1. Honestly check your energy levels before deciding to push into the forest. 2. Choose a Jeep driver who is calm and realistic, not the loudest seller. 3. Keep essentials with you in the Jeep, not on the roof.
4. At arrival, prioritize clean washrooms and a good sleep over the most Instagrammable camp. You can chase aesthetics next morning. And 5. Keep your expectations flexible about light, charging, and food so small surprises don't shake your mood.
If you follow just these, that night ride, which sounds scary on paper, can actually become one of your favorite memories. The sound of the river, the cold air, those tall, dark pines, it stays with you.
And if you want to turn this into a proper, ready-to-use plan, we've put together a simple Kumrat arrival guide for you. Ideal timing principles, sample budgets, and suggestions on what to ask local drivers and stays so you don't have to guess everything yourself.
Just head over to our website, check the Kumrat section, and you'll find updated notes from recent travelers and local contacts you can consider. Think of it as your cheat sheet for a peaceful first night in the forest.
That's it for today's Travel Dairy. Next time you see a picture of Kumrat's green meadows, remember, the story actually begins the night you turn off that main road and the pines start whispering around your Jeep.